So my next guest, who's been a frequent guest here, writes in a Wall Street Journal opinion piece today of American freedom at risk as a result of pandemic politicalization, saying, quote, America has been paralyzed by death and fear for nearly a year. With vaccines finally being administered, we should be entering a joyous phase. Instead, we endure still more inflammatory rhetoric and media distortion. Here's a pretty sharp example of that. Watch this.
There's something that really gets stuck, I think, in my craw and other people's craw at the idea that people who have been enabling Donald Trump downplaying the COVID virus, calling it a hoax, they've been servile to Donald Trump. Then they get to jump the line and go in front of people who are in nursing homes and go in front of people who've been risking their lives for 10 months to keep others safe, like medical workers. They get to go in front of people who are on dialysis and who are on chemo. Give me a damn break. Give me a break. That is just so immoral.
Dr. Scott Atlas joins me now, former special advisor to President Trump and senior fellow at Stanford University's Hoover Institution. Dr. Atlas, welcome back to the program. What moved you to write this piece for the Wall Street Journal? And what's your reaction to what we just played?
Well, what you just played is an example of the really sort of sickness that's really contaminated the media and our country, frankly. There's poisonous, vicious rhetoric constantly trying to vilify people. The country, I'm pretty cynical about where the country is right now, and I'm not sure it's going to get out of it. And that's why I wrote the piece. The piece is all about the facts. And the facts are, no matter what people want to believe, that A, the governors decided with their local officials what to do in the states, in the United States. That's factual. On the ground policies were determined by the governor, nobody else. Secondly, what was done was the very lockdowns, business restrictions, school closures, curfews, all the things people clamor for, that was done. Why don't we look at the results of those? Because the results of those are, as is the true all over Europe and even Japan, is that the cases exploded through these very lockdowns. Don't the facts matter anymore? And three, the bigger point of the essay that I wrote is really about the freedoms, because now we're in a world where we know, frankly, your field is destroyed in terms of objective journalism. That's been going on for years. The second part is that science has been contaminated, and there's this urgent need to be political now in the scientific journals. Yeah. Third, social media is now the arbiter of free speech, and that is the avenue for free speech these days. And now fourth, we see the universities are suppressing, actively rebuking views that they don't personally agree with. And the rebuking and suppression of those views are the very views we need to hear, the free exchange of ideas, to arrive at the truths that we need to know. So once those things are all gone, frankly, the country is finished.
Well, I wish I could say that I disagree with you on those points, but I don't. And I think it's understandable that you feel cynical when you look at all of those situations and you think about the end of World War II. Obviously, very different situation, but you think about how joyous people were about having beat, this horrible enemies in Japan and Germany. And here we are arriving at this amazing moment with a vaccine that holds the promise of preventing this further spread of this disease, which has taken over 300,000 lives. And you would think that there would be at least some bipartisan joy and some recognition that the vaccine was driven, back in March by a very aggressive program that a lot of people said could never come to fruition. And yet it did. And you were attacked a lot along the way through all of this. Just a final thought here on what you see happening over the next year as you look ahead.
Well, I do think that it's very disheartening to hear the so-called experts who undermine public confidence completely in the vaccine now are not only clamoring for their own access to the vaccine, but they're also trying to claim who should get it first. And in the meantime, are saying we have to double down on lockdowns even after the high-risk people get vaccinated. We are in a world here in the United States that is really off the rails. And, I'm not sure what the solution is, frankly.
Yeah. All right. Well, Happy New Year, Dr. Atlas. Good to see you, sir. Thank you for being here tonight.